So what are we jamming on now? Jay, what are you jamming on now?
Oh man, continuing to play NBA 2K21. It's a blast. I got my team up to like an average rating, offense and defense of 94. So feeling good about that. I got a 96 rated Shaq on my squad, dunking on fools. So that's a blast. But that's kind of my standard thing. I jumped back into Destiny 2, and this is a game that I've just played off and on a little bit, throughout time. But with the new Destiny Light or Beyond Light campaign, I heard it was really good. And the reason was I was listening to somebody on YouTube and they mentioned, and it was like an MMO channel, and they're talking about MMOs, which I very much enjoy. And they mentioned Destiny 2 as being an MMO, and I didn't really think of it like that. And so I figured, like, I knew that the whole expansion of it when the Xbox was released, the newest Xbox, brought in so many new players. So I jumped in, and it really is super well done. It's like an MMO shooter. It brings in like a lot of elements that are cooperative, like I enjoy from Elder Scrolls Online, but also like it's just different. Like it's just a blast. So, and then there's several people I used to know who played ESO that play that game, so I may play with them. But that's been a blast.
And are there like
Yeah.
or pre-organized teams and shit? Like,
No, it's
nah, you
like
just jump
there's
in.
so much. Yeah, it's kind of like if you ever, it feels to me almost like if you ever played Guild Wars back in the day, where there's the main storyline. Like it's not even when I jumped in, it wasn't the type of thing where, hey, here's your start screen, press start, go do this quest. It was kind of like you're in a story immediately. But after this amazingly beautiful cinematic cut screen, like I'm in the story, but there's other people that are playing too. And I was like, oh snap, we're in this like cooperative like mission together. And I didn't need to communicate. It wasn't the type of game where I needed to be on mic, like, hey, we got to go left. Like I think in other parts of the game and other modes, like, yeah, that would be fantastic. But for this, like, it was just so fun and so natural and didn't require like the level of coordination some other games need. And like I said, it's just a blast. So I got sucked back into that for a little bit for sure.
Word.
And then, oh man, so I felt like with the impending soon, we don't know when, but coming soon release of Halo Infinite, being a huge Xbox guy, like who's always played Halo PvP, I never really experienced the story, because we were in college when it came out originally, and then after that, just I didn't have an Xbox for the longest time. When I played, it was always PvP, even these days. So knowing Halo Infinite is coming out, my goal is to play through all of the Master Chief Collection before the release. Because
That,
Courtney,
that sounds like an undertaking.
oh man. Well, Courtney does these things where she's like, "Oh, I want to play through this Assassin's Creed collection, or I want to play through the Dragon Age collection," and she keeps doing that, and she loves it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that with Halo. So I played all the way through the prequel Halo Reach in like a day and a half, and it was so good. Like it because it was a remaster done like I don't know 2015 or something like that. The graphics are I couldn't really tell I was playing like an old game, and it was just really well done. So I'm excited to move on to the next one, the original Halo, and then we'll see how long it takes. Hopefully, I'll get it done before Infinite comes out. But
Word.
it's blast, blast. That's it, man. That's the long and short of it. That and knocking Mike Tyson down.
Just down? I hope not just down.
No, not down, not down. And also, yeah, I mean, I jump back into Elder Scrolls as well. It's, we talked about it. It's been a blast. I picked back up because they redid like your leveling system. Before I was like beyond max level before, so it was kind of just like I defeated all the veteran group content. It was kind of like, what do I do? But I'm getting back into some of the storyline stuff, and then even one of my old guild mates pulled me into like a veteran raid last weekend, so, 12-person trial, and that was a blast because it was one of the ones that has the last piece of gear that I'm missing. So it rekindled that like I need to get this gear and let me like get back into it and try to go after this thing. So that's been
I went,
fun.
I went on a downloading tirade last night and from Game Pass, and a lot of I clocked the Bethesda shit in there, so fucking got pulled Fallout 4 down just to fucking. I've been thinking about playing. We talked about that a while back. How I was considering kind of wanting to play that again, and Wolfenstein, the new Wolfenstein was in there, and I haven't tried that yet. Hopefully, it doesn't make me fucking sign into some shit, or I won't play it. But so I got that. I got that, and what else? I saw Fallout 4 on there, and I couldn't tell. I hate, and dude, here, a fucking comment box at Microsoft. Why the fuck don't they have more information on the game, like the game info screen? The description doesn't list the number of players. Like I was looking for co-op games and stuff on there, and it doesn't list the number of players on the info. Like it lists the ESRB rating, like where it lists the ESRB and how many fucking gigabytes it is to download. Like it has that information up top, but neither in there or the description box does it actually list like number of players. Does it have co-op? Like why is that? That's critical information. Like why is that not included anywhere
like
on the fucking thing?
It's been a change because it used to be there. Because I used to think the same thing, and you used to always have to go in and like right bumper over, and then you would be able to see it. If you scroll down, it would be kind of like the same thing, and it would list it. So I don't know. Maybe I haven't actually. I usually look at games in the store all the time. I haven't looked in like a week. But yeah, it used to be there where you could see it, but it might have moved.
I can't find it anywhere. The only thing I'm thinking is because I'm looking at it in Game Pass and not, it has the option to go to the store. And maybe the store has
info, in the store.
But, I mean, fuck you. Like, I mean, I shouldn't have to click over to the fucking store if I'm going to get it in Game Pass to find out that information. So take that upstairs. Run that up the flagpole.
Get right on that.
Get that fucking fixed. Anyway, see, I downloaded a bunch of that shit. Anyways, the point of this is that I saw Elder Scrolls Online on there and Fallout 76, and both kind of surprised me that they were like Game Pass offerings, as if, I don't know. I just thought with the subscription shit that they just wouldn't, I just didn't expect to see them in the store. So I almost clicked on ESO2 just to fucking open it up again and give you the satisfaction, but there were so many other things I downloaded. I was like, this is gonna take long enough. Let me get these first. Maybe do that later.
Fair enough. But if you do, let me know because we'll jump in party. That's my game. Like it's the social aspect.
I'm aware. So yes, I got all that shit downloaded. I haven't really tried any of that stuff though. I did finish Spiritfarer, 100%ed it, and it is the most beautiful, emotionally resonant video game I have ever fucking played, man. I just cannot recommend that game enough. It is so good. And the cherry on top of the whole thing to me is when it ends, it just ends. And most games that have this sandbox vibe going on with it, with the farming and all that shit, they usually complete the final plot point and then dump you back into the sandbox and urge you to re-engage the minutia bullshit mechanics, keep farming, whatever. Not this one though. It's just like you do the last thing and it's just fiend, like goes back to the fucking title screen, and that takes balls, and it is so right for what this game's story is, that it has a cemented finality to it like that. Like, I finished it, and like literally I sat at the title screen for a minute, gave you the credits, goes back to the title screen, the music plays up, and like I turned it off, and I like deleted the game, and like I don't ever need to play it again. I don't ever need to think about it again. It was fucking fantastic. 100%ed it, did every fucking thing in the game. Don't even need to think about ever playing it again. And that like closure to me is very attractive. That's why I like feature films over TV series, because I want a full arc. I want to see it go from point A to a final point B and know what that arc is. And that's a whole different diatribe to talk about TV and how it's open-ended, and the nuts and bolts creation of it are intended to go forever, theoretically. So you don't want to have any closure by default, which is why it's not my favorite kind of storytelling. Anyways, this fucking perfectly nailed it. I just loved the way it wrapped up, and I just cannot recommend it enough. It's so, so good.
Nice. And that is high praise, dude. I can't even.
That's so good.
That's a lot.
It's like, I listen to podcasts and stuff, and like, it's funny how I don't know how long it's been out. It's years for sure, at least. And it's funny how, there's just so much shit out in the world that everything just flies by as like all the stuff that you don't know about, and like now that I've played the game and know how incredible it is, and I clock every time that word comes up, either out of someone's mouth or in written form, and everything said about it is just like, oh, really good. So like I am not alone in this opinion for sure. It's a really good game. And I turned my attention. I had it on. I had it downloaded for a while. Both of them actually. There's two of them. And obviously I haven't started the second one yet. But I started playing Pillars of Eternity on Game Pass as well. And I was telling you guys in the chat that it's a really, really honestly. Like I played it now. I'd probably put in, I don't know, 15 hours into it or something by now, and it might be too much. Like I kind of feel a little bit like I'm wavering a little bit right now. So I'm not going to say that it's like I'm over the moon about it or anything, but it is like a really, really deep story-based RPG it's hardcore D&D role playing, like the yeah, that's why I was texting Jab until he loves that shit. He's always talking about fucking that nonsense. So I figured he would probably dig it a little bit. But anyway, yeah, it's like the statistic stuff, the character creation stuff is super deep, and there's just so many things to track and develop, and the leveling up of your characters has multiple things that you're dealing with, way more complex than your average Fallout type character development system. You add attributes to things that are outside of your core attributes. Even they're like developmental attributes, stealth and mechanics, and your ability to deal with traps and lore, your ability to interact with spell-based things, and just there's like all these different layers of just statistical character development as well as abilities. Just like an endless number of abilities that are, some are class specific, some are not, and like of the classes and races you can choose, they each have their own unique ability sets. So it's incredibly complex, and you got to be into it for that kind of thing for sure, or it's going to be overwhelming. So I played it quite a bit. It's got this, you get into it, and I was telling you also in the chat that like there's you get to a point in the narrative where you take over this keep, and it becomes a little bit of a sandbox developmental thing that's like a back burner objective, in addition to it's very traditional, and you go out and you do quests and you get objectives and you bump into new ones as you're out doing that, and your quest log expand. It's very traditional in that regard, but there is that back burner thing back at home that you have like a representative back there. You don't have to physically go back to it to give orders back home. I don't know, the idea is that you have like a kinetic or a you can talk to him without being there, whatever the hell. Gotcha. I can't think of the fucking word for it, but you can basically communicate with this overseer back at the keep and have new things built and hire soldiers and stuff to protect it back there. And things can show up and you will be notified of it. You can decide to go back and help to defend the castle or not. Let your minions handle it. So there's a cool management aspect to it that's within the story world that I think is pretty well done and pretty fun and pretty elaborate too. So yeah, and the storytelling itself is great. Like there's so much. That's the thing too. Like you can't. I like to be able to like listen to podcasts or maybe not be fully mono focused when I'm playing an RPG, because that's kind of the allure. It's turn based. I can kind of multitask a little bit. With this one, you can't. There's so much reading, and they say the dialogue too. They say the stuff too, but I can't listen to people. I gotta read to really digest, especially big pieces of information. So you just can't do anything else while you do it because there's so much reading. So it's a fucking lot for sure, but it is, there's a lot of care put into it, and it's definitely, if you're in the mood for that kind of thing, it's pretty fun. So
especially if you're not reading all day at work, and then it's like, maybe I don't want to read this much more.
If you have that going on, you definitely it'll be too much for you. But so there's that. Played a little bit of Sea of Thieves the other night with Jab last minute. Invited me with him and his buddies, and we did a quest that was new that we haven't done with you on board. That was super cool. I told him, I was like, I want to do this every time. I know. It was like a puzzle based thing where we had to go around and pick up all this shit, and you had to acquire all these things, maps and keys and stuff, and then they led you to a like a treasure puzzle room kind of thing. And I guess the guys that we were playing with, Jab's buddies, one of them was Frank, who Fruner, who you also played with. Another was I think a new guy. And I guess he was kind of leading the charge on it, and he had done it once before and failed also. So he was telling us like, this is, I died doing this last time. We got to get in there, and we got to, like, we have a limited amount of time. And so it's this room that you go into. There's a puzzle in there. You got to find all these things, and then it opens up this puzzle entry opportunity. And if you get it wrong, the room, like, you're closed in, you get locked in as soon as you walk in. And if you don't do it in the right amount of time, or get it wrong or whatever, the room floods and you die and you don't get anything. And it's like, it was a whole night of work. Whole night of work going around getting these things from different islands and shit. And, yeah, it was a huge bummer, and we fucking failed.
Yeah, I can tell where this story is going.
So, but it was, just like the whole puzzle thing was like, it was such a cool moment of the four of us in the room, like, like fucking running around, like trying to find this stuff, and then like putting it in, and everyone's like, no, what about this? Like, oh, I don't think that's right. And they're like, oh, what about this? And we're all running around trying to fucking frantically figure it out. It was way more fun than the running around whacking fucking skeletons thing that much of the game can be, So
it's like an escape room in the video game. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's very, very good analogy for sure. Yeah, so that was cool. And I was asking, I was like, are there, like, how many of these are, like, we haven't done anything like this yet? Like, how many types of things like this are in this game? They're like, oh, there's a few of them. I was like, oh fuck, we need to do these more. This is way more interesting, than just running around and fucking bashing skeletons and picking up chests and taking them to the ship. That's fun too. But having stuff in there was pretty cool. So yeah, that's mostly it. Is there anything else I fucking played? I didn't really build out. I think that's it. Let's talk about Mike Tyson. Who gives a shit? Mike Tyson.